Hi, everybody. My name's Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Young.
And we are the Yahoo and the Torah YouTube channel. We are the yahooandthetorah.net site. We are also on Rumble. Hello to everybody out there. We thank you guys very, very much for joining us. And we love you guys. You guys are our family. You guys are definitely our family. And we love the support. And we love the love that we get from you guys. And a lot of times in our life, we will struggle with certain things. We will struggle with lots of things. There will be lots of things in our life that we will struggle with. Sin is one of them. And there's always a struggle between good and there is a struggle between evil. In the story that we talk about today, we have one of our forefathers who is a valiant warrior, and he always gets a bad rap because it is funny because the Christians are always like, well, you know, Jacob's the deceiver, Jacob's the liar, Jacob's this one that did this and this did that. And although he had his problems, it's actually his mother is the one that went and had him deceive his father. And when you look at that entire story and you look at how Jacob's brother was with Esau, it was more of a ruse, I believe, between his father and his mother that was able to get Esau where he was not blessed. And I believe this was all by the hand of our Creator. And so this is going to go into today's lesson. Today's reading, the first is in Genesis 1 through 8. And Jacob went on his way, and the messengers of Elohim met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of Elohim." And he called the name of that place Makayim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, in the land of Seir, the field of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Say this to my master, Esau. Your servant Jacob said this, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have bulls and donkeys and flocks and male and female servants, and I have sent to inform my master to find favor in your eyes." So the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he also is coming to meet you, and 400 men with him." And Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, so he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and herds and camels into two groups. And he said, "If Esau comes to the one group and attacks it, then the other group which is left shall escape." Now, the other part, we're going to go down here to verse 22. And he rose up that night and took two of his wives and his two female servants and 11 sons and passed over the ford of the Jacob. And he took them and sent them over the stream and sent over what he had. And Jacob was left alone. And a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip. And the socket of Jacob's hip was dislocated as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But he said, "I am not letting you go until you have barak me." So he asked him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name is no longer called Jacob, but Israel, because you have striven with Elohim and with men and have overcome." All right, today's lesson is called Wrestling with Yahuwah. If you guys are reading the Bible in a year, it starts in Genesis 25 and 26 is what you're reading, and also Matthew 8, 1 through 17. Okay, because without me, you are able to do naught. John 15:5. When the board members of George Müller's orphanage told him that it was impossible to raise enough money to keep the operation going, Müller rejoiced. He said their sense of helplessness would make them rely more fully on Yahuwah. They did, and Yahuwah met their needs. Complete dependence on Yahuwah is an absolute necessity if we are to enjoy his blessing and power. But we seldom learn the truth apart from bitter experience. Take Jacob, for example. He had many years he lived with his own fears. Even though distressed when he heard that his brother Esau, whom he had wronged, was coming with 400 men, Jacob had a plan. He tried to make sure that if he was attacked, half of his family would survive. It was then that Jacob wrestled a messenger in a man's form. Just before dawn, the man demonstrated his power by putting Jacob's hip out of joint by a mere touch. And it wasn't actually a messenger. It says it was Elohim. All Jacob could do was cling to the man, pleading for his blessing. This was a turning point in Jacob's life, for he learned that blessing comes only from Yahuwah. We too must realize that the only way to experience Yahuwah's favor and provision is to depend on him. Once we stop our own devising, quit the schemes of our own choosing, cease from all our fruitless striving, Yahuwah steps in with grace and power. If we wholly depend on Yahuwah, we will find him wholly dependable. And Ms. Nicole says, if I refresh this and it actually has the right thing, which is what we want for the long-term future. And so this is it, guys. This is striving with him. And yep, Jacob wrestled Elohim right there. Anyone have anything here, gentlemen?
Yeah. We see a lot of times when Israel, they would go to battle and they wouldn't rely on Yahuwah, they'd rely on man. They'd be like, they would ask a seer or something like, hey, do we go up? Should we battle? They'd ask man and before asking Yahuwah, and they'd get destroyed every time they went up asking Yahuwah, because if they didn't ask Yahuwah, they didn't have his blessing, they didn't have him protecting them. And so a lot of times in the Bible, when people would rely on man over Yahuwah and they wouldn't depend on him, they would be cursed. They wouldn't have his blessing. They wouldn't have the strength of Yahuwah with them.
Yeah, and you read about that, as our family, we're reading right now through the book of Maccabees, and it is just like that. Maccabees is a great story of the underdog. It's a great story of a bunch of people who would not bow to the evil of the age. They would not eat unclean food. They would not worship. They would not They would still circumcise their children. These people were for our Creator, and they were the minority amongst the majority, and most of Yisrael had already bowed to their sovereign. They had gone his ways. They weren't keeping feasts. They weren't keeping Shabbat, and it only takes a minority of the people, and you have to be strong and have that kind of strength. And our Creator will always walk with you, and all it takes is prayer. All it takes is that communication. All it takes is that love of our Creator, and He always loves us, and He has given us a path forward. And sometimes you have to strive with Elohim. Sometimes it doesn't feel good. And sometimes you end up with a hip that is displaced for life because of it. But in those pain and in that misery, that is where we will learn the kind of blessings that we get from our Creator. So with that, much love to everybody out there. Have a good day.
All right. Shalom.